My name is Rhapsody, welcome back to Slay the Spire in the high Ascension grind for the Ironclad. We've got level 20 Ascension to go on the Ironclad with... just limbering up. Elites spawn more often, normal enemies are deadlier, elites are deadlier, bosses are deadlier, heal less after boss battles, start each run damage, normal enemies will be tougher, elites are tougher, bosses are tougher, start each run cursed, fewer potion slots, upgraded cards appear less often, poor bosses, lower max HP, unfavorable events, shops are more costly, normal enemies have more challenging movesets and abilities, elites have more challenging movesets and abilities, bosses have more challenging movesets and abilities, and the max level double boss. Random common relic is the only really trustable one here, and that's actually quite good. Art of War, if you don't lay any attacks during your turn, gain an extra energy next turn. That means the decks that have a significant amount of setup in their skills and powers are more powerful, right? Because they have the extra energy the turns after. It also means defensive decks are more powerful as well. And the only non-rampage win that we've had in High Ascension has been with a very, very defensive deck. And our kind of closest brushes with success have also been defensive decks. So, probably going to stick down that line. Yeah, it's unfortunate how those attacks went. Specifically that one of them buffed and the other one weakened me, which made it difficult for me to kill without investing all of my energy. Alright, single strike does it next turn, so we're cool. Do the bash though. True Grit and Clothesline both have a place in this deck. Clothesline less so because of the Art of War, but it also has more of a place in the deck because usually you want to pick up aggression before you pick up defense. Take the Clothesline. I will remove a card here, but it's worth noting I was coming up this line so that I could remove a card at this shop. By removing it here, rather than removing it at the shop, I actually might consider removing the bash instead. Yeah. We're going to have energy problems on the first floor, and since we're going to be picking up defensive cards, which are typically more expensive, we're going to have problems after that as well. I could totally see myself picking up the armaments. 3 spaces before the first upgrade. Like, I think I take the armaments here just to help carry me through the opening game. Cool. And then sure, it will be useless later, but it will have done its job by then. I'll defend here because a typical hand should be able to kill. Look, it's a typical hand. Hemikinesis, Corruption, Headbutt. Probably none of these so far. Well, there's a really early Searing Blow, especially considering we had arrest there, and then arrest there, and arrest there. So we'd get 4 upgrades before we go to the first boss. The 3rd level upgrade is 27, and it upgraded for 6. So 7 past 34 would be 34 for 2 energy. It's not bad. I probably would take it if I had the money for it. I don't though, so yeah, it's a worthwhile, yeah, it's a worthwhile exercise. No, it's a worthless exercise. There we go, that's what I meant to say, obviously. So I could decide to take an elite here, or if I want any elites, I'm gonna have to duck in and across. Actually, that's not a bad path. I kind of want to go for 2 elites. I could beat the Gremlin Knob. Could I beat Lagavulin? Yes, but it'd suck. Can I beat Sentinels? Sentinels I'd have the most trouble with, rather. I think I'll skip the first one, might go for the second one, depending on how much stronger I get before that point. So with the weakness, the enemy is only going to attack for 4 on their second turn, which gives me the ability to just play a single armaments. Really hoping to have another strike in that hand, though. Come on, and yeah, there we go. Whew. All right, there's the body slam that we've been looking for. Unfortunately, in the same hand to Shrug It Off, but it's the body slam. I'm definitely going to be upgrading that as well. And now I'm definitely going to go for the elite. Letter Opener, every time you play 3 skills in a single turn, deal 5 damage to all enemies. This is definitely a defensive deck through and through. I went to this space kind of blindly. I forgot that I didn't have enough money to really do anything here. That was a bit dumb. So this is my hardest combat. I actually did one less damage there than I otherwise could have. This is my hardest combat, but the fact that we have a weakness potion as well as a clothesline in our deck makes it a lot easier. I believe that I will be killing the next 2 turns, so I'm fine with playing all of those. Yep, and we are killing the next 2 turns. Beautiful. Omamori, negate the next 2 curses you obtain, as well as an energy potion, clothesline, path through. See, it's just difficult. Deck's really thin. And without wanting to pick up a bunch more copies of Body Slam and make myself vulnerable to... See, okay, let's think about it like this. Let's think about actually fundamentally my strategy. My strategy. I say it like I have ownership of it. It's a strategy that I utilize, which is the thin deck strategy, right? Which is to say that the things that I prefer tend to be thinner decks because of the consistency of the draw with fewer copies of each card. So you don't need multiple copies of Body Slam to get a Body Slam in your opening hand kind of reliably, or with other combo pieces kind of reliably. By the same token, you can upgrade only kind of like a limited amount of cards in a run. So having a smaller deck increases the chance that most of your cards are upgraded, and that you have the time to invest your upgrades into all of those cards. Now that is mitigated somewhat by the armaments. And then there's the thing that to be said for thicker decks, right? And that's to say that you can make a bunch of value picks with less regard for deck integrity. So you can go, oh, well, I have the champ coming up, so I'm going to want to take some defensive cards just to get me past that fight, right? So you can kind of adapt more comfortably on the fly. That adaptation has a lesser effect than it would in a thinner deck, but you're more comfortable doing it. But furthermore, and this is the more important thing, curses and statuses and things like that are much more dilute in your deck, right? So that's the thing to be said for a thicker deck. Does that mean that I should turn this into a thicker deck now? Who's my first boss? Is it the slime boss? It is the slime boss. So the slime boss in Ascension level 19 gets upgraded from putting 3 slimes in your deck on turn 2 to putting 5 slimes in your deck on turn 2. And oftentimes, because it has 150 HP and you're not going to get past like the 75 barrier too commonly without an aggressive deck, in the first 3 turns that is, you take a hit and then you get the second of that. So 10 cards in your deck are slimes, which for me is about 50% of my deck. For a thicker deck person, it'd be, you know, much less. I don't think I'm going to take the power through. The reason I wanted to bring this up is because the power through's negative, which is to add 2 wounds to your hand, is heavily mitigated by having a thicker deck. Because if you're not going to shuffle through your deck anyway, it doesn't matter that you've got 2 wounds in your hand and then in your discard pile, because that's never going to become your draw pile again. Alright, we took on our 1 elite. I'm happy with it. We're not being weakened by the acid slime yet, so I'm actually just going to kind of bum rush the looter here. Primarily because I believe that if we don't immediately start targeting them, the acid slime was going to weaken us, and then the looter was going to get away with my money. Alright. Dunk him. Disarm. Now, disarm is extraordinarily powerful in what situations? The champ purges debuffs, so not there. The collector does single hits, so not there. And the automaton has a large amount of artifacting, so not there. So on the first floor, it's really good against Hexaghost, and it's also quite good against the Guardian, but we have neither of those here. So what is it really good against for me? Right? Who's multi-attacking next floor and doesn't have artifacting that I want to hit this with? Well, there's the Snake Plant. And the Book of Stabbing. And the Gremlin Leader. So Book of Stabbing and Gremlin Leader are elites. How likely am I to go for elites next floor? Pretty unlikely at the moment. I need a lot more defensive cards before I really feel comfortable considering that. All right. I don't want the disarm. I'm going to upgrade the clothesline. I'm probably going to rest at the next camp. Yeah. Removing a card is almost always the option I want to take. And yes, I'll rest here. I'm happy to let armaments upgrade the rest of my strikes and defends. Okay. Wow. God-awful draws. I'm really glad I rested before this. Ouch. Yeah, 10 cards from my deck right now. So I can deal 20 damage this turn. It'd be triple defend, triggers the letter opener for 5, and then body slam for 15. So that gets him down to 66. The problem with that is I will need to play a lot of these slimes out of my deck. Like, look at my deck right now, right? We're not going to have a better split than this, though. Like, 20 damage in a single turn is actually pretty high for us right now. Now, unfortunately, because we're running a body slam deck, you can... Oh, gosh. Yeah, we're just going to die here. Slime Boss is really, really rough for a defensive deck. Unfortunately, we got things that supported a defensive deck in Art of War and Letter Opener. I guess the one thing that I should definitely take away from this is that I should be looking at my first floor boss before I decide my run, rather than deciding my run and then looking at my first floor boss and the way in which I can meld it to them. So let's do that. Because there's a couple things I always forget to do in this game that would be best practice. So I would say, you know, fair enough, I did that wrong. One of the first ones is that I never look at the boss at the very start of a floor. Like, exceedingly rarely do I do that. The second would be that there's the Dead Adventurer event. I recently lost a run to this. The Dead Adventurer event actually tells you in cryptic language, but it does hint in the flavor text for the event what elite you would be running up against had you should you rather fail the roll and summon the elite. And I never read that text because I always just think, oh, it's flavor text. I just skip. So that's something that I need to do. I should probably be reevaluating cards at this point, right? With this many losses on Ascension 20, I think it's clear that there's something's got to change, right? Which I'm trying to do, right? Like, how many times have you seen me take Clothesline beforehand? I really don't like any of these options. There's also no elite free paths you can see here. And in fact, if I go on the left, I'm guaranteed to fight at least 2. And if I go on the full left, I'm guaranteed to fight 3. So the fewest elites possible is hugging the right all the way up from here. We've got 1 elite there, but then we cut back into the center. Other than that, it's 2 elites, so... And you know what? Let's take our own advice. Who's our boss? Hexaghost. Okay, so Disarm just went up in value. Being on low current HP but high maximum HP as we go into the final fight just went up in value. Aggressive decks just went slightly up in value, but so did defensive decks that utilize Thorns or Flame Barrier. Clash just went significantly down in value, right? Because burns. Which means that True Grit and other exhaust forms went up. Alright, I'm going to lose all gold to transform 2 cards. Because fundamentally, I believe that most cards in the game are better than a strike or a defend. But the problem then becomes, like, if you transform 2 of them and you get 2 hyper-aggressive cards that don't work with the deck, like a Clash, right? Then you're short on defense and you've got a lot of offense, some of which isn't usable. Double tap Body Slam. Alright. Now, unfortunately, I actually just chose the path that, out of habit, chose the path that has a shop in the next space. That's incorrect. Naturally, I have to imagine. I didn't need to tell you that. Now, one thing I do know is that 2 instances of damage on the same card both trigger before curl up, but 2 instances of damage from 2 different instances of the same card, so that is to say to double tap bash, triggers curl up in between. So as a result, we don't want to do that. Instead, it's just going to be strike, strike, defend. Couldn't have killed anyone that round. Was not capable of it. So having Body Slam and Rage in the same deck... Rage, sorry. I just gave away the rest of my sentence. Having Body Slam and Double Tap in the same deck would hint that I also want Rage, but then I'd also want Card Draw to support the combo factor of those. Taking an early Armaments again, I'm starting to get more and more on board with. Yeah, I figured this wasn't going to work. Ugh. Not only is Pen Nib available here, but so's Impervious. I was never going to be able to get either, but... Guess a regret? No, I'll just take the 50. That's from a card. Sure, probably a strike. Second Body Slam. Wowzers. We'll take the max HP here. And we need to... Did I not get Armaments? Did I debate taking Armaments and then not take Armaments? Oh my god. Did I have the ability to take Armaments? This game is messing with my mind. God damn it. That sucks. Here's all your Body Slams. Oh god, you did it again. Thankfully, I have literally enough for lethal, but still. Iron Wave's not bad with double tap. We're probably losing this fight. Yeah, as a primarily defensive deck that's like super lacking in offense, we're gonna have a lot of difficulty taking down the Lagavulin before they kind of brutalize us. Now, next turn, I'll throw the Weakness Potion on so that I can negate 5 damage a turn. I have to go all aggressive, so unless I have a Body Slam, which I do now. See, the problem is about to be evident, which is that in Ascension level 19, Lagavulin starts to take 2 Dex and 2 Strength at the same time. That's really bad for a deck that runs Body Slam. If I just double tap the bash, would that have been enough? I forgot what HP they were on. Jutsu Bracelet. Regular enemy combats are no longer encountered in question mark rooms, as well as Feel No Pain, Iron Wave, and Headbutt. I'll take the second Iron Wave because we've got the Body Slam. Bottled Flame. Upon pickup, choose an attack card at the start of the combat. That will be in your opening hand. Probably Iron Wave. Oh no, we'll do it with Body Slam. It has higher combo potential with things like Anchor, for example. Especially Anchor. Alright, good. We need some things like Ghostly Armor, Entrench, things like that. The Iron Wave Body Slam archetype is working out for the moment, but who knows how long it'll carry. We have a lot of cards in our deck that we still need to upgrade, so I'm pretty happy to go with the Armaments upgrade now. Okay, which benefits from taking 6 damage and which benefits from taking the 5s? Both of these go to 12. 12 is 2 strikes from lethal, so it's easier to make kind of natural kills with. I'm going to Armaments the Iron Wave, and then I'm going to double tap the Iron Wave on the one that's powered up. Sure. They had a lower HP total, but it's fine. Alright. As soon as we've got a singular target on the board, the other one, unless they, you know, have powered up somehow, is going to have difficulty kind of taking us out. There we go. Alright. We need that Armaments upgraded. I don't like making choices. True Grit's also really, really, really good here. Burning Strikes out of our deck is insane. Burning Bash out of our deck is insane. Basically, if we can get down to a hand that's literally just double tap Iron Wave, then every single turn for 3 energy, we get, assuming the Iron Waves are upgraded and so is the double tap, right? It's 7 by 4s, 28 offense and 28 defense. That's pretty good for only 3 investment. Remove a card from my deck, sure. This True Grit is also now going to provide the ability to start burning those the burns out of our deck from Hexaghost. Yeah, this one's not going great. Get a lot of these combo pieces outside of hands in which they would be, generally considered useful. That's the most diplomatic way that I can state that. Ow. Had exact lethal on the back liner, and now for the mid liner. Now this relic is actually super handy. When vulnerable, take 25% more damage rather than 50% more damage. There's a couple of... Shrug it off is excellent here. So's Iron Wave though, still. Yeah. I should have used the regen potion that fight. The liquid potion, the liquid bronze as well as weak thorns. Liquid bronze as well as weak potion, rather, are going to be extremely powerful for us. I have to rest. No, I don't. If I rest, I'm actually going to make the Hexaghost more powerful on turn 2. So let's upgrade the True Grit, because we can't rely on it being in the same hand as the armaments. Get the Liquid Thorns. Throwing the Weakness Potion now. Oh, yes. Armaments, double tap the Iron Wave, and then double tap the Body Slam. Oh, come on. That's so good. Definitely burning the strike, despite the fact that I could use another attack this turn. It's not... all of the defense can be considered part of our combo pieces, right? Not the best hand to have gotten the double tap or that body slam in, but not the worst. Got one more turn of vulnerability. Next hand's kind of garbage. Does get our Iron Waves upgraded at the very least. Starting to have some doubts about whether or not we're going to be able to get through to... Actually, since I didn't upgrade anything there, the defense should have been played instead of the armaments. But starting to have doubts that we'll be able to kill the Hexaghost in time. Yeah. Getting a lot of bad hands here. All right. 24, 7, 7s, 14, 20. Oh, but that's fine. Yeah, because of the thorns, the enemy will die before I do. In fact, they'll die before they get through my armor, my block. Nice. Impervious, definitely. There's no two ways around that one. Unfortunately, Body Slam is 0 cost, and that's like a huge part of it. We only have 2 cost cards in our deck, and one of them's bad, so the Snackle Eye doesn't really get a look in here. Probably just Black Blood, like... My recording partner and colleague, Lolash, has described this boss relic as a new player trap. But it's better than the other 2 right now. They just doesn't. Okay? There is a no elite path, but it is super boring. But we also get to decide later whether or not we want to divert from it. Now, this is super unfortunate. The Shell Parasite has a huge hit that also applies Frailty. Like, what? Why does it do both? It's already bad. You didn't need to make it worse. Oh my god. They seem super keen on doing it here. Good gosh. Alright, starting to work through that plated armor. We're all good. There we go. It's the largest impact we could have there. We're really going to want something like Magic Flower so we can actually start controlling our healing, because good lord. Just not going great right now. I do like the double tap Iron Wave. It's just without the extra energy, it's become a little more cumbersome. Unwieldy, if you would. And I would. Hence I did. Apotheosis. I mean, Apotheosis means that armaments is no longer useful. It's also energy cost. Has a problem. But due to our low hand sizes, I think it's actually still necessary. It'll also allow us to pick up a lot more cards. Just like a lot more. Okay. I know that doesn't full defend me, but it does a lot of damage without putting anything in our deck. Happy to defend another 8 there. Yes, perfect. These are the exact kinds of hands that I'm trying to make. Warcry actually allows us to construct hands in our kind of own image, so it's definitely not something we should overlook there. This is the snake plan. This is what I was talking about, the disarm possibly being useful for, as well as thorns. So armaments is now, at best, a defend in our deck. That's just true. Ow. Mm-hmm. Yikes. We're gonna actually have to rest at the next camp as well. I hate that I keep getting Impervious outside of the same hand with Body Slams. Like, both of my Body Slams are in the next hand. Like, come on. And yeah, that was bad. So I need to think about that for a second. My hand was double tap, body slam, Iron Wave. I think Ascender's Bane was the final one, right? So I defend, I have 5 defense. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when that happens, right? Basically, I'm debating whether was it going to be more effective to double tap the body slams or double tap the Iron Wave, right? So double tapping the Iron Wave gave me 10 block and 10 offense. I'm playing the same amount of attacks anyways, in any order, and none of the attacks are small enough to break the blocking without triggering more malleable blocking on the snake plant. So that means that we can negate that part of the puzzle that's not relevant. So if I double tap the Iron Wave, I end up with 15 defense. Actually, not 15 defense, because it was an unupgraded defense. So it was 13 defense, I believe. And I've done 10 damage. And then I double tap one of my body slams. So it does 13 twice. So 39, 49 with that, right? 49 from that combo. So if I instead Iron Wave defend, I end up with 8 block. And then I double tap the body slam twice. And I get 32. 32 plus 5. Yeah, okay. So the correct order was to double tap the Iron Wave there. It was also the most defensive we could get. I was expecting not to be reaching for the kill. I was expecting to be reaching for defense, and that was the most defense we could get in that turn. Damn it! For the moment, my name has been Rhapsody. The name of the game has been Slay the Spire. That has been another attempt at Ascension 20. We can't get much past the 2nd floor at the moment. Yikes. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you next time.